it's a good situation when Boeing can avoid a felony conviction, which I think ultimately was going to happen here before the Justice Department, I guess, sort of stood down or didn't care as much. And so, there was a lot of questions, I guess, about whether or not a company that had been convicted of a felony could be a government contractor. I mean, my personal opinion was that Boeing was just too important to the defense industrial complex to not be allowed to be a defense contractor. And so uh, the Defense Department would have found a way around it. And maybe that's, one of the reasons for a little bit of indifference in the marketplace right now over it. But I think in the long run, it is a really, I think, good thing for the company to avoid having to be considered a felon.
You made a good point that if you're a felon, you can't really have government contracts. Critics would say that maybe the current administration probably had an influence on this. What would you respond to that? And it's probably hard to ignore given that, for instance, President Donald Trump said that Boeing had some headaches, but it makes one of the best planes, quote, in his remarks when he was at the UAE.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel that way to me. And again, I think the challenge here is, look, Boeing did have some problems, clearly, with the 737. Uh, and, they were supposed to put in place an overseer that was going to help fix those problems. I think there's a lot of focus on the company right now. And I do think it's probably in the country's best interest not to impede its ability to be a contractor, uh, again, to DoD and to other parts of the government. And so, look, in the long run, I don't think we need the felony conviction in order to make sure the right thing happens at Boeing. And so, you know,
So,
I
George,
wouldn't throw too many stones on this one.
with a little bit of a hindsight here, put into context Boeing's week in terms of orders. How big was it?
Yeah, no, it was a nice week. So we expect more of this to come. I really think as the administration goes out and focuses on trade with the world and balance of payments, that countries around the world are going to look for ways to equalize that. And Boeing is one of the most important exporters for the U.S. And look, and we have a report on the Bloomberg terminal about this, right? Their sales recently have definitely lagged, right? I think as customers have watched the problems at Boeing, watched the quality problems, watched the problems ramping up production. And so there probably is already a natural spring back for a pretty decent order year this year. Because again, I think some of those core customers, they haven't moved on. They're not going to buy Airbus. Their fleets, a lot of their fleets are primarily Boeing. So they want to buy Boeing. It's in their best interest to buy Boeing, but they just didn't want to get in the order book right now because it was such a mess last year. So I think that spring back, coupled with an administration that's going to go around the world and say, hey, what are you doing to balance payments with us? And when countries go, I don't know, I guess we're off sides. The administration shows them, I guess, chips and Boeing airplanes, and they go, okay, we'll take a bunch of Boeing airplanes anyways. I think you're going to see again more of this. So it was a good week, but I think there's more to come, and there's a spring back as well involved here.